Welcome, everybody, to Conversations with Carnivores. I am your host, Christina Mathewson. I have been a carnivore now for 2 and a bit years, and I am joined today by Hamish, who has also been a carnivore for, what was it, 11 months, nearly 12 months now. Have you crossed
Yeah,
over that
it's nearly
line
12
yet?
months. Yeah, it's nearly 12 months now. So yeah, it's been great. So
So, one of the first questions that I generally ask is like, what actually led you on the journey to make the decision to jump into carnivore?
well, obviously, not obviously, but like many people, I'm sure, they saw the carnivore through Joe Rogan, his podcast,
Ah,
and I thought after his podcast, I thought, what's it like just to eat meat? It's like what's everyone loves meat, and so do I. So I thought I'd give it a go for 30 days, and yeah, it was pretty good. So I thought, why stop there?
so what were the results that you got in that first 30 days then?
Well, mental clarity was the first thing. Um, my moods weren't. I didn't crash. I didn't have high moods. So my mental clarity was just constant all day. My sleep was amazing. I I've always had trouble with sleeping since
Hmm.
because I'm ex-military, and yeah, I was involved in an accident.
Hmm.
So my sleep hasn't been the best, and now it's great since starting Carnival. Yep.
Awesome. So I'm curious because like I feel like carnivore is very out there in the sense of like being different to what, the norm actually is. So it makes me wonder like, did you have any health complications that brought you there or anything that has resolved for you since actually being on carnivore?
So yeah, it's a very restricted diet, as I'm sure everyone knows. Um, I've I had gingivitis when I started, and
Hmm.
they say you can't cure it. It's cured. I don't have gingivitis anymore. Um, that's one thing, and I thought that's it's nuts. Um, I get spots on my face. Obviously, and people think, oh, it's just some sweat, or I get spots on my chest, and people say, oh, it's just sweat pimples.
Hmm.
Since I'm carnivore, I don't have them anymore.
I think
Um,
it's interesting because like there's lots of little things that go away
yeah,
that I would didn't, consider some of the things that went away for me. Like, I used to have to wear glasses. I don't need to wear glasses anymore. I didn't think that would ever go away. I didn't think that that would be something that would change. And so I think like I don't know if your experience is the same, but I think that there's lots of things that you probably did not anticipate would
I
actually
don't,
improve that actually did.
correct. So I also wear glasses for long distance and for driving.
Yeah.
I kind of don't really need them now. Uh, how does that work?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if you've looked at Lisa, who she's an optometrist and she's been
Yeah,
carnivore for like 13, 14, 15 something
yeah.
years. And so there's stuff that she can't say to her patients, but she can say, maybe give it a try.
Yeah. My first podcast at Carnival was with Sean Scott.
Oh,
He's
nice.
he's got vision problems since starting Carnival. His eyesight has improved drastically.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I totally believe it.
I don't know why. It's ridiculous.
So you and I met at an event that Dr. Anthony Chafee was speaking at.
Sure
And at the
did.
event, you were sharing that you're about to go and do a marathon run. Have you done that yet? Or is it
Did.
still to come?
Yeah.
How'd you go?
I did that 2 weeks ago. Um, Absolutely amazing because that was my first marathon.
Yep.
So, and as they say, oh, you'll be sore after the marathon. You won't be able to go downstairs. You I ran that marathon. It was a slow time because obviously when you're on kind of what you can't really jump out of a zone two running. So you're just constantly running. You can't really because you burn too much out of zone two because you've
Hmm.
got a very limited source on carnival. But I don't know. So I just zoned to the whole time, and I was fine. I ran it in 5 hours 30, and after the marathon, I wasn't sore. I haven't been sore since the marathon.
Yep.
So yeah,
And I'm curious as well, like, it's probably one of those things that the more time you do things or the length of time things go, um, where the performance gets better. Because
yeah,
that's kind of what I hear from long-term carnivores is like there's this transitional period that takes time for your body to really adjust to using ketones as its primary energy source to give you that go, go, go energy. But over time, your body actually adapts to doing that much more efficiently. So I'll be
yep.
interested to see how you go if you do another marathon.
Well, I will be doing another marathon. I don't know when it is, but I've got the Fernley 15 in 17 days, and the Parramatta Trail half marathon
Yep.
on the 7th of December.
So you've got a couple of things still coming up.
I think
Good
it's
luck.
two more runs to finish off the year. So I I'm kind of I've kind of added a few more foods back into my diet.
Hmm.
So I'm not pure carnivore at the moment. So yeah.
Did you add those in just to help with like the runs? Is that what's happening for
No,
you? Or you're like,
it wasn't to help my runs, it was all to help my performance. But
hmm.
I thought I've got raw milk.
Yep.
So that
Raw
maybe
milk is carnivore.
yeah, I know it is, but I know it is. So I thought I'd added some more milk into it. I've added cheese into it.
Yep.
So I know the cheese I've got is not it's not precious or anything. It's good cheese. So it's um what else have I added? Um oh, I may have added a bit of dark chocolate, but that's not carnival.
Okay, that one I'm not going to say is carnivore, but the others are.
It's definitely not, and that's on me. But yeah, I thought I'd a bit that in because I said I'm not doing pure carnivore now for performance for the marathon.
Yep.
So yeah,
So really, like other than the chocolate, the only like
actually,
all of those are
yeah,
actually carnivore
yeah.
foods.
Yeah, so
Um, they just don't fall into what would, when I think about carnivore, I think about the categories. Like,
yeah, yeah.
there's subcategories of that, like, strict meat, which is strict carnivore, which is just like meat, salt, water. But
It's pretty much like your lion diet.
yeah, except for you've got other meats that you can add into that. So you've got
Yeah,
lions, you've got strict carnivore, then you've got full carnivore, which is that, and then you've got what is standard carnivore, which would include some herbs and spices. So maybe we could include the dark
yeah,
chocolate into the
yeah,
herbs and
yeah.
spices.
It's surely it's part of it.
But yeah, I tend to think of like the actual category is
Yeah,
75 to 80% animal products. Like
yeah,
still keeps you in that zone of like what we would consider from a dictionary term as a carnivore. It's what
yeah,
we would call an animal.
yeah,
Um, and I think that, sometimes we have to create some of that wiggle room because it's not like, I don't know about you, but for me, certainly it's less about being able to tick boxes and
yeah,
more about actually gaining health.
yeah.
And whatever is required in that may sometimes be required.
Yeah. Well obviously when I started carnival, I didn't have to lose any weight.
Mm.
I had just done it for performance. I got my marathon done, and I wasn't sore. So now I'm just adding foods back into it, and I'm now I'm I'm sitting at 90 kilos. So I haven't lost weight, but I've actually
Hmm.
put on weight because I've had the more red meat you eat, when you eat red meat, it gets absorbed into muscles, and the more resistance training you do, it it'll build those muscles up. So I've put on weight, and I'm feeling good. So
Well done.
yeah,
Did you have any actual big physical differences for you in regards to your physique?
not like an no, just no, not really. Just
Just that you've gained more muscle?
gain my muscle. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I'm curious, how have your friends and family taken it?
So I've in the last month, I've been asked by 6 friends, "What are you doing? Can you please tell me how to do this carnivore diet?" because I want to start it. And like, this is ridiculous because I never done this to influence other people, but they've obviously seen my mood or my physique or something or my performance in my marathon. They've seen something and they're like, well, hang on, if he can do that, why can't I?
Hmm.
Maybe I should try what he's doing and see how that goes. So yeah, it's my I couldn't believe that when that happened. My parents, they aren't carnivore, but they are more meat based. So yeah,
So it's having a bit of a ripple effect in your life.
it seems like it is, and I'm not going. Yeah, I can't complain.
And I saw, you showed me at the conference when we met that you had an article in the paper. Tell us a little bit about that.
I
What
did.
happened? How did that come about?
Yeah. So I decided to start a Facebook page, the Carnivores of Maitland and Newcastle. Um, I don't understand why, but no one can see it. No one can find it. But somehow the Newcastle Herald editor, he found it and he contacted me. And he organized me a photo shoot. And when we telling me all about my carnivore journey and why I'm doing it and everything, well, pretty much like what we're doing now. And yeah, they came to my house. They took photos of me cooking steak on my birthday. And yeah, and that was published about a week before I went and seen Dr. Anthony Chaffee.
Yeah. Awesome.
Um, yeah, and there was a piece in the paper called "In Defense of Red Meat," and it was also and there was also a doctor's theory, Doctor James Medeke, or
I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm not too sure either. I'll go back and look at it, but yeah, yeah,
So was the doctor for it or against it? I'm curious.
good for it. Yeah, and also Dr. Anthony Chaffee was also part of that in there as well. So when I went and saw Dr. Anthony Chaffee, he goes, "You're the guy from the paper." I said, "That was me." Yeah. So he was part of the story, and yeah,
That's cool.
that was unreal. I didn't think it was yeah.
So I'm curious, like, was his take on like so the guy who wrote the article, that is, like, was his take purely from that, red meat's getting slammed as a bad food and
Yeah.
and so
And
on?
it's getting slammed. It's getting all the wrong negative stories when it
Hmm.
shouldn't be. These are all the things that it can do for you, and why is everyone demonizing it?
Yeah.
This is yeah. So yeah, it was really good.
I'm curious, did you get anyone reach out to you after that? Did more people come and join your Facebook group?
No, because no one can find it. I've got,
Except for this guy.
except for that guy. So I've got to sort that out, and then I'm sure if whoever sees this podcast, or yeah, look up the Mainland and Newcastle Carnivores, and yeah, it's a good place. But
Yep.
got to sort that, got to sort that out first.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious for you, like having just nearly a year of carnivore now, how has your outlook looked? Like, how do you think about food now versus a year ago?
Wow. So I went to the shops yesterday. I thought, oh, I'm trying to go get some other foods. Everything looks like poison. But you look at you read the packets and you go, wow, poison, poison, poison. And they say this will lower all on the paper on the packaging. It says, oh, it lowers your cholesterol. Well, I don't want that. I want my cholesterol to skyrocket because my I had my blood work done, and my cholesterol, she was right there. It was 350. I think it was. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. But in health in grocery stores, they have why do they have health aisles?
Hmm.
What's everything else?
And even the stuff in that health aisle is not
Isn't healthy.
healthy.
It lowers your cholesterol. Well, you don't want that. You don't want that at all.
We want to lower your triglycerides for sure, but
Yeah.
not
And so,
necessarily your cholesterol. So
yeah.
with that in mind, like I know that you spoke a little bit with Anthony about the lean hyper responders. Has that been something you've done a little bit more research into, or it's just not, you're not concerned at all?
I'm really not. Because he looked at my blood work and he goes, "That's really good." And to me, if a doctor of his caliber can look at my blood work and go, "That's really good," what more do I need
Yep.
to do it? So since that, I just continue on with the way I'm eating, and I've added a few more foods in there, which aren't as bad anyways.
Hmm.
They're not processed foods. They're not full of sugar. They're still pretty much carnivore,
Hmm.
except for that dark chocolate. But I'm not having much there anyways.
Yeah. I think yeah, like for a lot of people, dairy can be a problem, but for a whole
Yeah,
bunch of people, it's not as well. And I think the key part is figuring out if it's a problem for you or if it's not a
yeah,
problem for you,
yeah,
and adjusting accordingly.
correct. Because as Dr. Ken Berry says, um, milk is for baby animals to put on weight. So I like milk, and I'm not going to stop drinking milk. Well, I did stop drinking milk for about 10 months.
Hmm.
But might start drinking milk again and see how it goes. I've got no reactions from drinking the milk except for it tastes good. And there's a bit of, I mean, there's a bit of sugar in that, but it's not bad sugar.
Yeah, it's lactose.
Exactly. So
Yeah. And I think like for a lot of people who are doing a lot of exercise, for example,
yeah,
you something like milk can be quite helpful. And look, you're picking it from the raw, the
yeah,
best version that you can possibly
yeah,
get, all of that type of stuff. And look, if I was fit as a fiddle and
yeah,
like didn't have any blood sugar issues, I
yeah.
would consider it as well. So
You may be able to in the future.
I may be able to in the future
That's
for
the one
sure.
thing, because you don't know with carnivore. It seems to resolve so many
Hmm.
issues. It's issues that the doctors say you'll never heal or never be
Yeah.
able to fix that. And my gingivitis fixed, and I'm still yet to go to a dentist because I don't need to, because my teeth are great since starting carnivore.
I've had a
Yeah,
number of clients that have said something like that, like they might go to their dentist fairly regularly,
yeah.
and they've gone back and their dentist has said to them, "What are you doing? Your teeth are like, I don't even need to like descale them and things like that." And they're like, "Oh, I'm just eating in a particular way."
I'm now flossing more because meat obviously gets stuck in your
Yes.
teeth, so I floss a lot more. But that's kind of it. It's this diet. I mean, it's not really a diet; it's a lifestyle.
Hmm.
Because yeah, it's the human way of eating.
So I'm curious with that way of thinking, are you anticipating that you're going to continue carnivore for into the future, or like what are your thoughts? Are you thinking you'll try and include some more foods, or like where are you at this point?
I don't think I'll try and include too many more foods. I mean, if I do, it'll be I don't know. I mean, 'cause I don't want to go to the grocery store and get out something, and it's got you shouldn't have anything that's got more than two ingredients. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Or the ingredients,
Hmm.
and it's on the packaging at the grocery store. The ingredients list is that long. You're like, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? And it's ridiculous.
Well, half of the ingredients you can't even read because it's like almost like it's in a
It's,
foreign language.
it's long. It's this long. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll include too many more foods. I may add more meat, different types of meat. I mean, I'll start eating more seafood because I haven't been eating enough seafood.
Yep.
Um, get back to oysters. I love oysters. Um,
Great for zinc.
oh yeah, I know. So I've got to start eating more foods other than red meat.
Hmm.
I mean, because lamb's really good for you as well. It's full of
Yeah,
fat.
it is really good for you. But
Yeah.
I think like long term, for long term health, I think it is good to have a bit of that variety
Yeah.
when it comes to like getting a little bit of your seafood, so you're getting some
Yeah.
iodine in, and
Yeah.
you know, your oysters, so you're increasing things like your zinc and all that sort
Yeah.
of fun stuff.
Yeah. Unless, but I mean, if you just stay on the lion diet, you've got everything there you need. You don't have to put in the other things because everything, Michaela Peterson.
Well, I think it depends as well. So
Yeah.
this is a conversation that I often have with the regen farmers, and that
Okay.
is like part of it depends on the quality of the meats that you're
Yeah.
eating. So, like, there can be some really great farmers out there that are doing
Yeah.
fantastic work at actually replenishing their soil so that their animals have, the vast majority of what they actually need from
Yeah.
their grass and from all of that type
Yeah.
of stuff. But then there are farmers around that maybe don't have as good farming practices
Yeah.
that then are going to have animals that are somewhat depleted,
Yeah.
which then means our products are going to be a little bit depleted. So I think
Yeah.
that there are some variations there.
Well, yeah, I always try and stay to grass fed. Because and when the eggs I get, they're pasture raised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want caged eggs. I don't want cage-free eggs. I don't want anything else other than pasture raised because pasture raised, the eggs are out in the field. They're free to roam. The caged eggs, the cage-free eggs, they're not free.
Yeah.
So
And
the eggs aren't as good.
yeah, well, really, when you look at chickens,
Yeah.
they would prefer to be eating bugs. Like that's their preferred food.
Yeah.
Like, if they've got some grain on this side and some bugs on this side, they're like, let's go
Bugs.
to the bugs.
Yeah.
Like the grain is now, let's fill myself up, but I'm gonna eat the bugs.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of the environments that they're being raised in, they're not necessarily getting access to those bugs, which would be what they would ideally prefer to actually eat.
And there's also another thing. So since can add certain foods into my diet. So I thought I'll give a carbohydrate a go.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What
Wow.
happened?
It makes you hungry.
Yeah.
People don't realize it. So if you eat a nutrient dense food, you stay full for however many hours or for the rest of the day. You eat a carb, an hour later, you're hungry again.
Yep.
And then an hour later, you get another carb. And the cycle continues. It just doesn't stop. So since doing carnivore, I used to eat all the time. Breakfast, a snack, lunch, a snack, dinner, a snack. And I was never full. So since doing carnivore, I eat once or twice a day. And
Yep.
I can't wrap my I've been doing it for nearly a year and I still can't wrap my head around that.
I think you've brought up a really interesting topic, and that is that I like when people think about eating meat, they think about the expense and the cost, and they go, well, how can you feed yourself all day like with this really expensive food? And I'm like, I'm eating twice a day. Like,
Exactly right. I make
you know,
a steak and some ground beef.
yeah.
That's and some eggs. Like
Well, for me, it's like because
yeah,
I've got to eat a lot
yeah,
more fat than most
of
other
course. Yeah,
people.
yeah,
I've got a beautiful butcher here who gives me
yeah.
3 kilos for free. So
Oh,
my beef fat is free. I just chop it up into little pieces and put it in the
yeah,
freezer and pull it out
yeah,
and cook it when I'm ready, along with maybe a couple of lamb chops. Like
yeah.
it's actually not
And
that expensive when you do a side by side and you start to think about that exact point of when you're eating more carbohydrates, you are more hungry more frequently, more often.
correct.
And so you're actually, when you tally that up, like you might look at the pasta meal that you can make for like $10, right?
Yeah.
But when you tally that up with then the other 5 meals you've got to eat after that because you're still hungry.
No, you never full.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because if you're continuously eating, it's not good for your it's not good for your what do they call it? It's not good for your health. Because if you I was also watching and I think fasting is amazing. You can fast for a couple of days, 48 hours, and it's good for you. I never understood that myself.
I think so. The conversation of fasting for me is a little bit more complex in the sense like as a guy,
Yeah.
100% I'd be saying to you, go for it. As a
Yeah.
woman, there's a little bit more that comes into that conversation. But the other part of that is insulin resistance. And like
Yeah. Yeah.
once you've resolved insulin resistance, fasting can be absolutely fabulous. But if you
Yeah.
are insulin resistant, fasting can do things like spike your blood glucose. So actually you
Yeah.
increase your blood glucose and
Yeah.
those types of things. So there's a little bit of metabolic training that needs to go into that for
Yeah.
some people. But most men can jump straight into it, no problems.
But the way I said, I wouldn't be eating carbs and then go into a fast. I'd be eating a nutrient dense meal and then go into a fast.
Yeah. But even me, so I've done 40-day fasts before.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
uh, but as carnivore, two
Yeah.
years in, I'm only just starting to get to the point where my body will not go into a stress response during a fast, but will go into that regenerative state. But that's
Yeah.
taken me like, a good year of metabolic training to get my body to be able to do
Yeah.
that. Um, but that is, I am a certain subset of people where, I
Yeah.
came into it with extreme diabetes, whereas, there's a bunch of people that come into it that don't really have a whole bunch of
Yeah.
issues. And then fasting is really fabulous for them. And I think this is where the individuality of what we do needs to
Yeah.
come into it
Yeah.
when it comes to that. Because like, a 48-hour fast, great, you're going to get into autophagy. Your body's going to actually eat itself. It's going to get rid of all those negative things
Yeah.
that we
Oh,
don't want.
correct.
Yeah, it's going to do a massive cleanup, which is
Correct.
absolutely what we want it to actually
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But you do have to get into the right biochemical state for
Yeah.
that to happen. Yeah.
And they've always said breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, it's not. Um, it's the most important meal of the day is none. If you can fast.
Well, the most important meal is actually what are you putting on your plate?
That's also
Whether you're having it for breakfast or whether you're having
yeah.
it for the middle of the day or whether you're a dinner person, like
Yeah. Yeah.
what are you actually putting on the plate?
Well, that's like Chafee. He has one meal a day and he just has a full plate of steak for dinner,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like he Chafee's a big person, and you're like, how does that happen? How does that work? Well, you eat meat, you eat nutrient food, dense food, and it works wonders.
Well, the thing that I want to say there, and I'm curious about for you, is like,
Yeah.
going from that carbohydrate eater where you're eating all day long and then
Yeah.
going to like one meal or two meals a day. What do you do with your time now?
I don't know. Yeah, good point. That's a very good point. I mean, I'm at the gym a lot more. But so I've also found you don't need to train as much as
To get results? Yeah.
I know personally. So I weight train. So I do 3 full body workouts, and that's perfect. And then I run 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
It's I don't understand how I've gone from a certain you training every single day, weights every single day, and then you're running twice a week, and then I've got more time now.
Yeah. I think people forget, like, in the personal fitness world, I think they forget that there is more to the equation than just the exercise element. Like,
Yeah,
if you're exercising, but you're not eating the food that's actually
correct.
going to turn that exercise into gains,
Yeah,
then, you can exercise all you like and still just remain the same.
it's pointless.
Yeah.
It's just pointless. It's pointless exercise because you got to feed yourself nutrient dense food, and that will help you gain weight. It will help you lose weight.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's
I-
interesting that we've separated these things. Like in my mind, I think it's weird
yeah,
that we've separated these things.
when we shouldn't have because it's simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple. Eat nutrient dense food, sleep well. Um, what else?
Yeah. So with all this in mind, are you going to do more podcasts and you're going to do more interviews? Like, what are you thinking?
I will do more podcasts with whoever will have me on there because I absolutely love this, and I might start my own podcast because I love talking about carnivore. I really do because I've done so much research. I've been doing it for nearly a year. Um, I feel I know enough to start my own podcast, but who knows? we might do that. Who knows?
Well, I'll put my hand up to be a guest.
Done. My first guess.
So I'm curious with that, like, what you're saying is like you love carnivore. Like, what is the part of it, for somebody who's listening at home
Yeah,
and they haven't thought about it, or they're maybe just teetering on the edge? What is
yeah.
it that you love about it? Well, like what brings that word to your mind?
The simplicity. I I don't have to go cook dinner with this, and this, and this. I cook steak on the pan, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, done. Cook some eggs, butter, done. I'm done. That's my dinner. Then I have some water. Um, it's it's simple. It's really
Yeah.
simple, and I'm full. Like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever change.
Hmm.
I'm kind of going to stay on Carnival now for a while, or forever now, because yeah, it's simple.
Yeah. I would agree with you with that simplicity. And
Yeah,
I think for me, what brings me to that place of like love is that I feel like it really empowers people. Like,
yeah,
we've touched on it in this conversation, even about how, so many things that we've been told cannot be fixed or are incurable. Like, I feel like it empowers people to take back control of their own health.
yeah,
And that for me is one of my favorite elements of it.
yeah. Yeah. And the fact that you're doing something that someone else doesn't want to do, or that they're not doing, they're like, well, how are you getting those results? I said, well, that's because I'm doing this, I'm eating this, and
Hmm.
which means I don't need that. So, and then they go, oh, maybe I should try, maybe I should try that.
Yeah. And I
So,
think probably that's one of the things that I've really loved about doing this podcast
yeah,
is that I've met people who have had all sorts of different health issues that
yeah,
have been able to come on and share about their wins in regards to coming off of medication or reversing things that were
yeah,
apparently irreversible. And, you know, all of that has been amazing to see people take back control of their lives.
it breaks the power. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. Yeah, uh, it's,
So
yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, like, how has it impacted your social life? Like going out for beers with mates or those types of things, like how's that impact for you?
Well, so I'm not too sure if I told you, I was involved in an accident when I was in the military.
Hmm.
So therefore, I don't drink anymore. So that's actually worked out quite well. So I don't drink. So if I go with friends, I talk to the chefs and I say, what are you cooking the steak in? What because I don't want seed oils. My steak to be cooked in seed oils. Um, and they'll say, oh yeah, it's no worries. I'll cook it on a dry pan or whatever. Um, and yeah, I'll have a steak and they'll have their foods, and that doesn't bother me because I'll have my steak, they'll have their foods. I don't I don't feel it um my social it affects my social life at all
Hmm.
because most places will cook a steak.
Yep.
You got to make sure it's not cooked in seed oils because no, we all know that seed oils aren't good for you.
So it's really interesting because I think about what are some of the objections that people have when they think about carnivore. And one of those objections is, but like, how will I go out with my friends? Or how will I do Christmas? Or what will
Yeah,
Easter look like? Or
yeah,
those types of things. And I think, some of that is one, just having some free thought, like,
yeah,
bringing ahead and asking, like, what meats have you got? And
yeah,
can you cook it without the seed oils? Like,
yeah.
just going with that preparation can make a world of difference and take some of that anxiety out of it.
Exactly right. Yeah, and if you've got no ailments or any issues you have to try and fix, you don't have to go pure carnivore.
Mm.
You can go keto. You can do keto ball.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues you can go by, and you don't have to just eat meat.
Yeah. And
I
look, the
mean,
carnivore police are not going to turn up at your restaurant dinner and go, did you like make sure that this was blah, blah, blah? No, look, if you don't actually have health ailments that you need to fix and that you're really working
yeah,
on and you need to be a bit stricter for, then you can give yourself a little bit of grace in some of those
yeah.
situations for it to not absolutely be 100% perfect,
Correct.
especially if it's not an everyday event that you're doing.
And that's the thing. If you do carnivore, not every day is going to be absolutely perfect.
Mm.
because there are some things you can't escape.
Yeah.
So you can do carnivore as best as you can, but you got to expect the days where, oh, well, okay, this is going to happen. I'm going to have, it's going to have seed oils in it. I can't escape it. So I'll have it. But
Yeah.
I'm not having it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So with that in mind, I'm curious, what are some of the challenges that you've found with going carnivore?
challenges. Wow. I mean, I'd say some places don't cook steak, and which I'd say, but I found I just had a massive. So it wasn't a challenge. The morning before Dr. Antichafi,
Mhm.
I had a massive breakfast, a massive steak and like eggs. I had a massive breakfast. I wasn't hungry for the rest of the day, and then I had some water. But what other problems are there? I can't think of any.
So I'm curious, have you had any struggles with like food addiction or carbohydrate, like, getting rid of those food cravings or anything like that?
So before I started carnivore, I was a healthy eater, full stop.
Hmm.
And I didn't have any addictions or I mean, dark chocolate. That's that was my only addiction. But since going back to having incorporating those chocolates, I thought, oh, these aren't that good. These aren't, yeah, they're not good at all. So I won't have that again. So yeah, I,
It's so funny because if dark chocolate was the only chocolate there ever was, I would have never ever had a problem with chocolate.
yeah, it's exactly right. Because the childhood chocolates aren't the greatest at all. But yeah, I had no problems or addictions to start off with because I was a healthy eater regardless.
Yeah,
To start off with, so I guess the carnivore just aided that and helps.
yeah.
So if
If,
I'm just eating red meat or red meat, what's better?
yeah. So for you, really, carnivore just amplified what you were already doing. Um,
Yeah, I'm just eating more meat
yeah,
and less crap. Less
yep.
sweet potato fries. Then that makes you hungry.
Yes.
So why have a steak and sweet potato fries where sweet potato fries make you hungry again?
Yep.
So if you have a steak and eggs and butter, you're not hungry. It seems to be a win-win.
Yep. Yep. So now, if again somebody's at home and they're listening and they're like, I think I'm ready to give it a go, what would
Yep.
be some of your top tips for people who are just starting out?
Start off slow. Start off slow because when you start, give it a week and you are going to have a bit of toilet troubles. That's
Nobody likes to talk about it, but it's totally the truth.
it is. As I mean, I don't want to say it, but you are going to have toilet troubles if your diet before you started carnivore was highly processed, highly carbohydrate based. You're going to have a lot of problems with the toilets and with diarrhea. It's that simple as that. So don't.
Don't trust a fart.
I was going to say the same thing. Don't trust the fart. Um, yeah, so I say start off slow. Don't trust the fart. And just enjoy the journey because, as I said, everyone enjoys meat. And so many people go, oh, I can't.
I will say for all those people that I can hear in the background going, but I don't, and I like my vegetables.
That's fine. You do you. But
If it's
people
working for you, keep eating them. But if
you're
it's
right.
not,
But
maybe reconsider.
exactly. But I'm pretty sure down the track you'll have other things will come
Yeah.
along and oh, so but yeah. But people say, oh, I can't tolerate meat. You can if you start off slow.
Mm.
You don't have to eat a whole ribeye to start off with. You eat a small scotchy. Eat half a scotchy.
Start with a
Eat,
sizzle steak.
still steak, correct. You don't have to get the top steaks from the butcher all the time. You get a steak from the grocery store. It might, but start off slow and have some eggs and Yeah, and eventually you'll find after time, you'll be like, oh, well, that wasn't that hard because I started slow.
Yeah. And I think for those people that, like, when you just commit to, even like, I've had some people where they've just had, a couple of bites. That's all they start with.
See,
And then they slowly transition. There starts to become like a craving for
correct.
it.
Because
And
I never used to crave steak or
yeah.
crave meat. Now I crave it. And I've today what have I eaten today? A steak. I had a rump steak, but then that was at the restaurant, the
Mhm.
dinner. So that's all I had today. But I'm not hungry. It's I don't understand.
What did I have? I had um two lamb chops, and I did have a spare rib, but I couldn't finish the
Yeah,
spare rib because I was
yeah,
full after the lamb chops.
and that's
It's
just
what,
fine.
nearly 3:30. So
Yep, I know.
I'm not hungry. I will probably have something for dinner, but I
Yeah,
don't necessarily need it.
you need it correct because your body's had it's once your body's had all the nutrients it needs, you're not hungry. And so then when you're hungry again, your body's saying, "Hey, I need some more nutrients
Hmm.
from my body," because so you feed it, you give it the nutrients it needs until you're hungry again. And it seems to yeah, it's great. I really like this way of eating.
Yep. So with that in mind, if somebody's thinking about jumping on, what are you
Yep.
saying to them? Other than going slow, should they go for it, or should they go back to the drawing board?
No, go for it. Go for it. Start. Just start. You don't have to say, oh, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. Eat a steak and go from there.
Yep.
Um, eat some seafood. Have have a stick of butter. Like just start. Just go and jump in and go for it.
Hmm.
Simple
Good.
as that.
So who are the influencers for you? Who are the people who have made the greatest impact in your journey?
Joe Rogan.
Hmm.
He was the first person I listened to and I went, huh, maybe I should give this a go. Gave it a go for 30 days. I went, I'm not coming back. No, as I say, start go for 30 days and then we'll go from there. 30
Yep.
days, good. Dr. Sean Baker, he was I bought his book, The Carnivore. Um,
I can't remember what his is.
I
There's
can't
a few of them out there either. There's a few of them out there. Like there's
remember.
the Carnivore Cure by Judy Cho.
Yeah,
Um,
the Carnivore song. Anyway, so Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Anthony Chafee, Dr. Ken Berry.
mhm.
Um, yeah, and I mean, there's JT off the JT podcast or
Yep.
the Carnival podcast. Um, what's his name? He's he not oh I got,
You can't look at it because you're on your phone.
no, he's really good because he doesn't give a rip.
Yep.
You know who that is?
I don't. Oh, Bart. Is it Bart?
No, that's
Bart
Bart K.
K.
That's Bart K.
Yeah,
No,
because he
he
doesn't give a rip.
yeah, because that's what he says at the end of his he goes, do carnival, don't do carnival. I don't give a rip. This works for me. It may work for you, but all I can say, go in there and do it.
Yep.
Oh, what's his name? This is not good.
I can't think of who that is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what he is. Yeah,
But yes, I
he's
think I really enjoy JT Carnivore, how he goes through some of the like the dietitian things, like
yeah,
dietitians jumping on and saying blah blah
yeah.
blah blah blah, and he's like, so let's go and look at the research on that.
That's right. No, right. This one. Oh, hang
Yeah.
on. No, yeah. What's his name? This is gonna kill me now. I was literally just. What's his name? Oh, it's not good. Um, I feel like I want to. Can I go past?
Probably, I don't know.
I
Um,
can. Oh,
but now we're gonna get up the nose action.
this is. Oh, he's really good.
So while you're looking for that,
Yep. Okay. So
one
sorry.
last
Yep.
question.
Yep.
Dating.
Carnival.
Have you
Carnival Ray.
Carnivore Ray. I don't know. I've seen Carnivore Ray.
Yeah, well, look
Might
him
have
up.
to look him up.
He is really good. Yep.
So, dating. Have you got a partner? Are you in a relationship or are you looking?
I have no partner. No partner. I looked, yeah. Um, yeah, I'm looking. I'm not looking. It. Yeah, yeah, I'm looking. There you go.
The question that I always think is interesting that I'm curious about for
Yeah,
people who are in the dating world, because I'm not
yeah,
in the dating world, I'm married and so on,
yeah. Good, bro.
is when they've gone carnivore, are they now actively looking for a woman or a partner or a male, whoever, who is also carnivore?
Yeah, correct. If I just say if I was to go into a relationship, I'd say, all right, you do you. I'm not going to try and force anything onto you. I'm going to eat my steak and my eggs. You eat what you eat, and they
Mhm.
eventually they may come on board. I don't know, but yeah, it's. I'm not trying to force anything onto anyone.
Yeah.
I'm doing me. That's all. It's simple as that.
Because I think about my own perspective. I think if I was in the dating world, would I want somebody who was also that way? I certainly definitely wouldn't want a vegan. That would probably be very, very hard.
I don't think that would. I don't think that would work at all.
I would have to have somebody who's definitely a meat lover,
Yep.
if not also on board with, going carnivore, because I think it
Yeah.
would just be so much easier
Yeah,
having a household that's just run like that.
it'll be so much easier. But yeah, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not.
Mhm.
I'm not. Yeah.
You're not married to the idea.
I'm not because I said I'm not. I'm not. I'm going to do carnivore for the rest of my life,
Yep.
or ketovore. So
Yep.
there's keto and carnivore together. So
Yep.
I can be pretty keto. So I can be pretty much carnivore, but if you add a few more things in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do that for the rest of my life. And if someone comes along and says, I want to try it, try it. Well, as I said, I've had 6 friends who have reached out to me to see how to do it and see if I can help them. So
Yep.
I may find someone eventually.
Great. With that in mind, is there
Yep.
anything you'd like to share with us before we start to say goodbye?
Nothing I can think of that I'd like to share with you, except for if you think about it, do it.
Yep.
As simple as
Good.
that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been
You're
a
very
pleasure.
welcome.
Are you happy for people to reach out to you on social media if they want to?
Yeah, sure am. So look up Hamish Roberts. Um, try and find my carnivores of Maitland and Newcastle. If you can't find it now, you will find it in the future. I've
Hamish is going to
also
add that to his to-do list to
I'm
sort
going to
out that.
I really am because I haven't been on them there for a while, and yeah, once I get that up and running, I may find more carnivores.
Yep.
So because
Good.
I went to the carnivore meetup in the Gold Coast, and that was unreal.
Yep.
So I thought that would start up in Newcastle. Yeah, I haven't really
Yeah.
got that far.
I've done a couple as because we were traveling around Australia for 2 years, and I've done a couple around the country when we've met up in different places, and
Yeah,
we've stayed long enough that I could advertise a meetup and so on. And
yeah,
it's been really great to connect with other people, especially locally. You can tell them like, where to go buy the stuff, and I just found this great butcher, and
yeah.
yeah.
And when we went out for dinner for the carnival meetup in the Gold Coast, the chef behind the restaurant, he goes, what are you guys doing? You doing carnival? And I said, yeah. So, and we told him all about it. He goes, I'm going to start it now. So we're influencing people as much as we don't understand. We are.
Yeah. Great. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on to the show today. And I look forward to maybe connecting with you in the future after you've done a bit more time and a bit more running and you can share some more results with us.
Yes. No, I've got 2 more runs coming up, and they're not quite marathon distance, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
Good.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.